listening to the Medic Materials Podcast, hosted by Mike Turek, Emily Yates, Kelsey Coons, and Gerard Cuomo. All are current EMS providers and educators with a combined 30 years experience. Each month, we discuss EMS news, medical science, and review actual EMS calls, bringing many educational opportunities to the listener. Portions of the calls have been altered to protect the privacy and identity of all involved.
Hello and welcome everyone back to the Medic Materials Podcast. So I'm excited since the four of us are on the same podcast for the first time in God knows how long.
What?
Yep, we have our resident...
We've got a badass over here.
In Emily. We have our brand new baby paramagician Kelsey with us. And I don't really have to introduce you, Gerard. You just are existing in awesomeness every time you're
Just
here.
an icon.
No, there's just no words for me. That's all it is.
And the only intro I really have for you is the finally when you come back. But you only really missed one episode, so I don't feel like it's really, good enough to use that right now.
We'd only miss a few.
Yeah, right, exactly. Wait until you miss a few, and then, the suspense. It's like, oh, man, where's Gerard? Where's the girls? So It is what it is. But, so we finally covered our first EMS news topic the last time in the discussion episode that we had. And I think it was really funny because as I'm recording, the new recording studio is now my office, which is downstairs on the first level of my new house. And,
Nice.
Yep, I don't have to be schlucked to the basement anymore.
Back in your hole. Back in your hole.
I know, right? And one of the funny things was Jess and I went out to dinner a couple nights ago, and she's like, I heard about that call. And I was like, what do you mean? And I'm thinking she listened to the podcast, and I was like, I didn't even put up the podcast yet. It's not even live. How'd you listen to it? She's like, you talk really loud. And I was sitting in the next room, and I was like, oh.
Nice.
So instead of Jess coming over and being like, hey, honey, can I give my input? She just eavesdropped.
Right, exactly. So
Yep.
she ended up bringing it up, and she went and watched the video and was reading the comments, and she was kind of taken aback like we were in that, oh my God, how do so many people agree with what this dude did? And kind of piggybacked off of what we were talking about. And it was just really interesting to see another perspective than just our three,
Well, did you see his latest comment?
I didn't.
Because they're not going to charge him?
I didn't.
He actually... Oh, yeah. It's look at EMS1 today, and you'll see he basically, literally said fucking... Oh, well, fuck around and find out, but I hope you all learn your lessons. Don't spit in a fucking paramedic.
Oh, my goodness. So double down on stupid.
Oh, he doubled straight down on it. No contrition. Not, you know what? I lost my cool. I need to freaking use this as a learning opportunity. We can teach other people how to, maintain calm and present. Nope. Came straight up, was like, motherfucker found out, didn't he?
Oh, my goodness. Well, he gets a bona fide for that one.
Yeah, hey, you know what? There's something to be said about a man that digs his fucking heels in, and that's it.
I guess so.
If you're gonna die on that hill, then you've chosen the hill you're gonna die on.
I guess so.
Just like Custer.
Yeah, right.
Didn't work out too well for him.
Exactly. But yeah, so I thought that was kind of fun. That even before the episode came out, and I hope that a lot of people, have really interesting conversations, and that becomes a topic of discussion. And I think that's what came out of that episode. As I'm editing it, the more discussion that we had, it just kind of grew into this where's this going to go from here? Where can we take it? Now, we clearly, because of you, Gerard, just found out the guy took it straight down to Beat Street.
He took it to the hole, Shaquille.
Right. Like that was a Jordan dunk.
Yep.
Straight over everyone's head.
Straight in.
You know, hopefully the masses can instead take it in a better direction, like we kind of spoke about on the last episode. But today, we're going to go back to what we are really, really good at, in that we're going to break down a really interesting call that I received that has a lot of EKG stuff, and just, you know, it's a fairly straightforward call. However, the EKG makes this really interesting stuff that the Mahabuchi talks about and we've kind of talked about, but really never have like dove into. So I think it lends itself to some interesting conversation, and I'm eager to hear your guys' opinions. So I'm going to, you know, chuck it over to Kelsey for her rig check, and then we will get started.
So guys, first order of business on the ring check is, once again, we are pushing Patreon Become a Salty Veteran and get access to the now twice monthly The Next Episode live stream with Gerard and Mike talking about life. Gerard's moving and getting used to his new job, everything that's been going on, especially with the crazy weather and what seems to be an uptick in really severe patients that we've been having and seeing lately. Also, then you get access to our third episode of podcast recordings a month, which we luckily are able to get more back on track of now that our schedules have seemed to wind back up. We have Twitter, so follow us at Medic Materials for daily posts, just like we do on Facebook and Instagram. We're going to shout out our listeners in Japan and Louisiana today. Also shout out specifically to Louisiana, since I just spent the weekend there. Thank you guys. And our newest Patreon, Sydney. And we're also going to apologize in advance, as Gerard just got an iPhone, so his audio may sound kind of wacky. But that is
don't hate
so
an
I hope you enjoy
iPhone.
the episode.
Down girl.
Suck, you jackass.
The inferiority of the Apple.
I mean,
I don't know. You sound better than she does right now.
It's literally like, I know how like Oppenheimer felt when he watched the bomb explode for the first time. You know, he's like, "I have become death, the destroyer of worlds."
oh, jeez, man.
My God, what have I done?
What have you done? Exactly. What have you done? My heart mourns for you every day, my friend.
It's so hard to get used to.
You know, you're going back in technology like 15 decades.
I know.
Like, you know, it's like using the original Motorola bag phone.
Ooh,
going way back in the Wayback
off
Machine.
the old razor.
I don't even feel bad with the amount of shit you talked about it.
Oh,
it's like, hey, we've got split screen multitasking. I'm like, well, I've had that for 10 fucking years already, but sure.
But hold on.
And now
Gerard.
look at you.
Hold on, Gerard. With the picture of the food that you posted on your Facebook today,
It does take nice pictures.
you could 100% be the next, you know, Instagram model.
Well, I mean, well, I guess there's a fetish for everything, right?
Yeah.
You
Get
never
my
know.
family and
Hey.
OnlyFans going, and
Hey, man.
there we go.
Get Kelly. Bring her onto the
Oh, yeah.
OnlyFans. Take picture
There
of
we
your
go.
feet. You make $1 million.
Right there
There you go.
You're onto something here.
There you go.
I'll just have like a plate of food like that just sits there in front of the camera. You know, no, she's sticking her feet in it. Trust me.
Oh, man, this took a turn. All right. Well, I'm
Sorry.
going to readjust this conversation since I let it astray. And I'm going to say that we are
I
entering...
will say the Apple does take nice pictures, though. Not to. I mean, that was a pretty nice picture. Anyway,
it does. And whatever phone you have, Kelsey, took way better pictures than mine. And mine's only like a year old.
Okay, I don't know what you have or what your camera settings are, but they do need updating because those were terrible quality photos.
They were awful. Absolutely awful. I'll admit, as being an ex-professional photographer, they were bad.
I was literally about to say, and let's take this moment of opportunity to remind the fans what he majored in college.
Yeah. What business I owned, right? Just absolutely absurd, which actually reminds me, I want to make a special shout out. Thank you for bringing up business because this clicked in my brain here. I want to make a special thank you to all of the Patreons of this show. Without you guys, there would not be the transition from Medic Materials to the actual business of Medic Materials LLC. That happened within the last week or so, and I made the formal announcement that there is a name change. Medic Materials LLC. I'm not going to use the LLC, of course, except for on paperwork. But for this whole time, it's been an online concept. Well, now it's a legit New York State registered business. And the only way that happened was with the funds directly from the Patreons. So I want to make a very humble, sincere thank you to all of the Patreons who subscribe each and every month, because without you guys, that whole business proposition and what I'm working on and going to be announcing over the course of the next, say, like 3 months would not happen. And again, what I'm building is literally going to be epic. One hell of an epic announcement. I'm hoping for in February, but we'll get there. So that's extremely fun. So thank you again.
Is this the stuff you were talking about with Mac?
Yes, this is the stuff that
okay.
I told you guys that I have not released to the world yet. I want to make sure that everything runs out smoothly. But again, what we're currently working on in the background of this whole, idea of Medic Materials, it hopefully is coming to where I've wanted it in the last 2 years in the next 2 months. So just keep with us. I know we're still 5 episodes behind, but at this point, I don't care. We'll catch up eventually. So, we're gonna start talking about this call here, and we're gonna go into my favorite type of setting. We are going to Rustic. We are going way past Gilboa, way past the sticks into Rustic. Where you...
I can taste the chewing tobacco right now.
Yep, yeah, and the banjos. Just bring them all on in at once. So you guys, your system is a county-wide ALS fly car with the BLS ambulances also being county-run, okay? So you have BLS ambulances staffed with 2 EMT basics, and then you have the paramedic fly car with 1 single paramedic in each fly car. And your hospitals are, you have a cardiac, catheterization and critical care center about an hour and 20 minutes away. And then you have a community hospital that is about 45 minutes away, and you have a critical access center about 20 minutes away. All right. You guys are dispatched priority 3 for a elderly male with complaints of chest pain and shortness of breath. So initially, I try and steer clear of the very generic chest pain, shortness of breath calls, unless they're really intriguing. We don't do them all that often. Mm-hmm. At least the straightforward ones, right?
Yeah.
The shortness of breaths always turn into, oh my God, they're dead. Or, oh my God, they, are intubated on the floor of whatever. So when you guys are getting dispatched to chest pains, shortness of breaths, is there anything that you guys are specifically thinking is causing those right off the rip?
Well, yeah, I mean, chest pain, shortness of breath, right off the bat, I'm thinking it's I want to keep MI, at the forefront of my thought.
Yeah, and that's kind of where my brain goes as well, is like, okay, I'm going to do this MI, and I'll rule out an MI when I get there. But, like, automatically, it's MI until proven otherwise. At least for them in conjunction. If it's only chest pain, I don't really go straight to MI. I'm like, okay, maybe they have, like, a rapid heart rate, or they have an arrhythmia or something like that. But both together, immediate thought for me is MI. How about you girls?
So, I don't know if it's like a weird superstitious thing, but like anytime I get dispatched to like chest pain, shortness of breath, and it's not a priority one or like a Delta level priority, for some reason, like something always just makes me extra nervous. I'm always like, something isn't right here. Like something's not adding up. And so like, I feel like then at that point, like what I'm thinking like opens up to literally everything under the sun.
I accidentally muted Gerard and I can't unmute it. How do I unmute you? Gerard, unmute yourself.
Press the 3 dots next to his name.
Yeah, I did that, and it won't let me unmute him.
Oh, well.
Oh, there we go. Okay. That really scared me for a moment. I was dicking around on my computer screen.
You're literally getting all jumpy and shit. I'm like, I wasn't even going to say a fucking word.
Nope, that was all me.
Like I had nothing to say.
Nope, I wasn't even doing anything. I was literally doing something else on my computer and somehow muted you. Like it wasn't even intentional.
Well, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, this is why we just need to figure out how to get back in the same room. Hey, Gerard, move back.
Hey, everybody, move down here. It's warm.
There's no snow. What a boring life there is.
Oh no, you go out west. There's plenty of snow.
Yeah. 7 hours, west of you.
That's okay. It's better than freaking 15 hours or whatever the fuck it takes to get here.
Yep. What is it, like 12, something like that?
Yeah, it's like 11 hours, 12 hours, something like that. Yeah.
So I agree with all of your guys' thoughts here, and this paramedic, literally hears the dispatch information go out and is like, crap. Like they're thinking, MI right off the rip, right? And especially where this occurs, being that it's Rustic, there is a particular culture of that area to where people don't typically call EMS unless they're dead. So that's kind of a, in the back of this paramedic's mind as we go through this call. So eventually, the paramedic arrives on scene first. The BLS ambulance is still en route. And when they arrive, they, of course, everything is, like way back in the sticks. So there's like an 8,000-foot driveway. They drive up the really, shady driveway. And they finally get to this house, get out of their fly car, and they hear screaming, like male screaming coming from the house. And they grab their first in bag.
Like in pain screaming or like somebody help screaming?
So I asked the exact same question to this provider, and the best thing that they said was they just heard like screaming. It was nondescript. It like, type screaming. And then it would pause for a little bit, and then it was like, coming from the house. There was no like, oh my God, my chest hurts or my leg hurts or stop killing me. There was nothing like that. So paramedic grabs the ALS drug bag and their cardiac monitor and walks up to the house. Now, I'm going to pause here. Now, would you guys, thinking scene safety, would you guys enter?
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, so what are your kind of thoughts with the screaming? Like, is that a red flag, or is that like, okay, let me go investigate?
Yeah, I might actually want to talk
yeah,
to.
that's a red flag for me.
I might call dispatch and say, hey, what's going on? Can you get them back on the phone before we go in?
Yeah, I think that's, I think that's smart, right? That whole scene safety aspect of it, they literally could be killing people in there and they're walking into it. Who knows?
Right. I have chest pain and shortness of breath because there's a knife in me.
Exactly, right? We don't know. And this provider didn't really do much of that, like didn't go back and, call for police or call dispatch or do anything like that. What they ended up doing was walking up, and alongside the side of the house where the door is, there was like giant picture windows. So they were able to actually see inside and see their patient sitting in the living room, screaming.
Oh,
so at this point, they felt like it was safe enough to enter. There was no like stabby McStab or anything going on like that they could see. So this paramedic enters the home and they walk over, they announce their presence. They walk over to the male who's now sitting in the living room, and their initial look at this gentleman is one of he is very anxious. He's got the, a very typical, closed fist over the chest, very like rocking back and forth in the chair and doing this like, half breathing, half screaming kind of, motion with their like face and mouth. So with that, how do you guys proceed? And we're all looking at Emily. You. Nope, we're all looking at Emily. We know it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not me. Don't worry, guys. I'll get that manual blood pressure. Be the best one you ever get.
Oh, there you go. Hey, I'm not against a manual blood pressure in this type of situation.
I'll take it.
I mean, in all seriousness, though, like if that's what you're seeing, like you're gonna move quickly.
So, I think Gerard, you always talk about anxiety chain, breaking that anxiety chain, and when people are legit in crisis, that's the way they're going to present. And this guy seems like he's already presenting in that crisis type of situation.
Yeah, and so, I mean, one of the things I probably would have done differently going in is, first in bag monitor. I probably would have brought my ALS shit too.
This paramedic did. Their first in bag is attached to their ALS bag.
Gotcha.
So, the only thing that they don't have is an oxygen tank. That's the only thing that they do not bring inside with them.
Well, I mean, this is where, get a quick, really quick, good assessment in and start treating it as to calm this dude the fuck down.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know dispatch said he's having chest pain, but how many times does dispatch get it wrong? Like, ask him what's going on, because, like, clearly something's wrong. We just don't really know what at this point.
Right. Yeah, and that's exactly it. So, the paramedic, finally, like, hey, dude, what the heck's going on? Right? And tries to get some of this story, because this patient is alert, looks at them and, starts trying to, communicate to the paramedic. And so this gentleman goes on to say that they have been experiencing a very sharp, intense chest pain with a heavy pressure alongside of that, off and on for approximately 11 days. And
whoa,
okay, there's nothing approximate about 11 days.
Wait, what?
Yeah, right. That's very specific.
I mean, sure.
11?
11. So,
Wow.
yes. So 11 days, they've been experiencing periods of chest pressure as well as very sharp chest pain. Okay. The guy goes on to say that since the afternoon, about 4 or 5 hours from the time that EMS arrives on scene, they started having this chest pain, and that it's only increased in severity over this 4 or 5 hours that they've had it today. And that they say, they point literally to their chest and they say, from the right side to the left side, all across the, the sternal area, it is a severe chest pain. But they also say that the rear of the left arm from the shoulder to the fingertips also has pain, as well as in between the shoulder blades. So before we even go on, is that a great presentation or not so much in your guys' opinion?
Well, great as in like classic textbook, I'm having a heart attack. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say great as in like there's not much question.
Right.
Right.
And
I got this one.
In my opinion, it's like, okay, we've taken most of the guesswork out. Let me just confirm it with an EKG. Like, that's kind of where my brain goes. If someone goes, hey, this is what I'm feeling, and it's that. Right? So they go on.
I feel like this is the point where you're sitting there and you're like, yep, it's about to be a day. And you're just sitting there and you got to think, especially if you're out in Rustic, okay, how far away is my ambulance? And those are the things that I feel like the minute that he said that, oh, this has been going on for 11 days and he actually looks super sick, that I'd be like, oh, good. Okay, my nearest appropriate facility is an hour and a half away, and my luck, it's got ice and snow, and it's a whole blizzard going on right now. So what am I going to have to do to get him there the quickest?
Right. And
I mean, no offense, Kelsey.
I missed that part.
What was that? Gerard, I didn't hear that.
So I said there was a blizzard. I missed that part.
No. She was just saying in her luck there would be a blizzard. There's the clear weather.
I mean, think about the luck of the patient.
You know what I'm doing.
Get to the chopper!
Yeah, that's right.
No, I would 100% agree. I think in this situation, especially understanding. I mean, I work in a rural district, and there are people that are the old farmers that are, you are, when they call you, you're like, oh my God, they're dead. They're missing an arm, or
they have already shaken hands with the Grim Reaper.
Right. They're literally on death's door. And I'm like, I'm going to be doing CPR intubation. That's all I'm going to do. Cause they wouldn't have called me unless they're dead. Right. They got fences to do. They got, animals to feed. They got hay to do. They got shit that's more important than living. And now all of a sudden they're calling me? No. I feel like, this is that kind of culture, and it just seems like the more rustic you get, that seems to be the kind of culture that you get all over the place. So I can say this because the next piece of information this paramedic gets is that this gentleman spent the last 3 days cutting, stacking, and getting firewood ready for the winter at 75 years old. So amazing for him.
When you have chest pain.
Amazing for this guy, right? But kind of falls into that old farmer mentality of hey, there's shit to get done. I don't care if I'm 75, age is just a number. I'm going to go and do it. So now this gentleman kind of is yeah, I might have overdone myself because, again, now I'm having this excruciating pain. So the paramedic goes on to, start getting the cardiac monitor out, turn it on, get leads out and everything like that to start getting a 3 and a 12 lead. And while they're, trying to undo all the wires and stuff, they start going like, hey, what is your like medical history? What is, all of like, do you have cardiac problems? Do you have any of these types of, issues that might point me in a direction of, they definitely have, a cardiac, complaint. And, this gentleman goes on to say that they have hyperlipidemia, so high cholesterol. They have hypertension. They're diabetic, and they have they are under the care of a cardiologist, and the cardiologist has requested to do previous cardiac catheterizations, but they have since refused. So this paramedic then goes on to say,
I'm sorry, they what?
They refused. They said, I don't need that. So then this
Joke's on you.
So
I genuinely think I probably would have just stopped and looked at the guy and like blinked a couple times and then just had to keep going because then I'm like, oh, good.
Right. So this paramedic kind of digs.
That was a bold strategy, cut.
Right. Exactly. And now you see the result.
Right.
So this paramedic goes on to say, like, why does the cardiologist believe that you need these? And they go on to say that at least one that they know of their coronary arteries is 85% blocked.
God damn.
So I'm going to do a damn because I feel like that deserves that.
Yeah.
So they go on and they finally get a first set of vital signs as well as a 12 lead and a 3 lead. So the initial set of vital signs that come out of the auto cuff, because they didn't grab a manual, is a blood pressure of 151/71, a heart rate of 78, and an SpO2 of 100% on room air. They go on to do a 3 lead, which comes out as what this paramedic says is a sinus arrhythmia. And then they go on to do a 12 lead, which spits out a left bundle branch block in the, 75 to 80 beats per minute range. Now, I was able to get my hands on the 12 leads from this call. Thank you to this paramedic. They're awesome. And I sent it to you guys so that you guys could actually see it and kind of tell me what your guys' thoughts are on this initial 12 lead. So the floor is yours. Because there's definitely a left bundle. 100% there is a left bundle. But do you guys see anything else that is concerning or worrisome or anything like that?
My finger's on my nose.
That means it's paramedic Kelsey's turn to do some EKG interpretation.
Now we're talking.
She's like, don't look at me, fool. I'm not unmuting myself.
I was trying to unmute myself and it wasn't working. I'm also pulling up the photo because I'm slow.
This damn mute button is going to be our death tonight, apparently.
I know.
So this definitely would have been one of those ones that I would have like ripped off and I probably would have just sighed. Like initial look, just been like, okay. So this is where you need Sgarbossas, and I don't actually have that memorized, so I'd have to pull out the fancy little chart that I have and do it off the fancy little chart that I have, because I can't remember that for the life of me.
So,
somebody should have called somebody.
Somebody's gonna, huh?
Somebody should have called somebody.
He's saying, make sure that we're, contacting the Mahabuchi to be like,
oh yeah, call Butch.
Hey!
Okay, if I'm in Rustic, I doubt Butch I'm gonna be able to get a phone signal to Butch.
I mean, that's probably true.
So
And
the best thing I could do was pull out my little cheat sheet chart that I have to go off that.
yeah, and so for those that don't know what Sgarbossa is, it is a criteria that was developed, like in the 90s. I think it was 94, 95, somewhere around there. And the whole purpose was to help diagnose ST elevation MI or STEMIs in a left bundle branch block or a ventricular like pacemaker rhythm. And why this is so difficult is that everything in a left bundle branch is wide. Everything is wonky. So your ST elevations are present just because of the left bundle branch block, right? In a ventricular paced rhythm, everything is wide and everything is wonky. There's depressions and there's elevations. So they needed something that would say, okay, I'm looking at something underneath this left bundle branch block or this ventricular paced rhythm, and I'm seeing ST elevations. So with that, your Sgarbossa criteria is threefold. There's, you're looking at concordant ST elevation of greater than 1 millimeter, all right, in more than one lead. You're looking for concordant ST depression of more than 1 millimeter in more than one lead of V3 or V1 through V3. And then you're looking for excessive discordant ST elevation in more than one lead anywhere with 1 millimeter more of ST elevation. All right. So it's kind of confusing and it works great with pictures. I keep a picture of Sgarbossa on my phone. Like I snapshot it so I can go into my, pictures and be like, boom, Sgarbossa. Right? That's how I usually do it because this is so damn hard to remember. I just don't. So with that, when you're looking at this, and again, you're looking at a crazy EKG here, but when you actually look at it and apply Sgarbossa, you can say that there is elevation in V2 as well as lead 3. However, you also have to say that there is significant depressions in the lateral leads as well as the septal and anterior leads. So there's a lot going on here, right? And what if you guys, look at this and figure it out, what is your next step?
Launch a helicopter.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree, right? The cardiac
I mean,
center
you at least have to ask because, I know some counties do, the auto dispatch thing, but I don't know anybody who, priority 3 chest pain, because I'm assuming dispatch just got, I've had chest pain for 11 days, and, I wouldn't have launched a helicopter for that either.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things, are they an hour and a half away? Are they, hovering already? I don't know. I need to know.
Right.
That way I can determine, the next 7 steps.
Right, and nothing helicopter-wise was done on this call as to this point in time. So nothing was requested, nothing was put on standby, nothing was auto-dispatched, nothing. So...
Well, because once you 11 days, they kind of just threw everything kind of off a little bit. You're like, wait, hold the fuck up.
I'm surprised. In some cases, I'm surprised that a paramedic even went to this call. Right? You're looking at 11 days, with chest pain. The county might be like, I'll just send the BLS crew and they might ask for a medic later. You don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and I wouldn't fault them if they did. I mean, it's, that's 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a long period of time to go with the same complaint, you know? So ultimately, the BLS crew finally arrives. And the paramedic kind of, tells them like, hey, this is the story. And they kind of just look at the paramedic and go, what do you need? And so the paramedic instructs them to get a manual blood pressure to confirm that it is in the 150s, systolic.
It's me. I'm there. I'm ready.
Yep, there you go. As well as they asked the second EMT to administer 324 of aspirin. So 324 milligrams of aspirin is delivered to this patient. They chew them up, they swallow it, everything is grand. And meanwhile, the paramedic goes and makes a decision, even though they are aware of Sgarbossa and they do notice that there is what they believe is a Sgarbossa positive finding in V2. Now, this paramedic did not find the finding in lead 3. They find it only in V2. And they go on and they say, listen, I'm going to send my EKG to the hospital and I'm going to call med control. So they step outside of the residence to make a phone call. Now, are you guys okay with this decision? At least till
I don't
now?
know if I would have stepped outside. I know, like, depending on where they are, like, service-wise, service might have been an issue. But I think, like, if it was a noise thing, step in, like, the room next door where you can still watch, rather than completely outside. Unless, like, you physically could not talk to a doc any other way.
There's totally the baby paramedic not trusting the EMT badasses. That
I was
just
going
walk
to
through
say,
the
I'm
door.
sorry. Hold on a second. Are your compressions different than my compression?
No! Damn! Shots fired.
I just don't like the idea of, like, walking back in and being like, oh, darn it, they're doing CPR.
Right? Like, hey, Kelsey, we need you back in here, like, really quick. Wave, wave, wave.
Yeah, like, that makes me more uncomfy than the fact that, like, you probably do compressions better than I do. I'm just saying. I don't like to get, like, caught off guard. Hey, by the way, they're dead now.
Gerard,
I mean,
go
aren't
ahead.
you already thinking that on the 12 lead though?
Yeah.
In regards to what? Like, what are you thinking on the 12 lead?
Like, why are you still alive?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
But you're just, like, you see a crappy 12 lead and you're like, oh shit, this, has the potential to get really bad. So that's already in the back of your mind.
Agreed.
Well, and that's my thing was like, why don't let's just get the show on the road. We'll start rolling. I'll call and see if we can get a chopper to meet us somewhere between here and the hour and a half place away.
Yep.
And let's start heading in the right direction instead of sitting here and having a powwow and breaking out the freaking tuna sandwiches and sit and watch a little TV and see how things progress. How you feel now?
Right, as they're lying on the floor. So many things are going on at this point in time. So the paramedic decides to step out and make this phone call. And the firemen that have now arrived, because there was, initial firemen that were dispatched as well.
Now we're safe.
What was that?
I said now we're safe. Now we're good.
Now we're totally safe, right?
Oh yeah.
The CFRs are here. Good.
Yes.
Gravy. So
I'm sorry.
Really more
but those
beneficial
are the
when they
ones
get their
doing my
first.
suppressions.
she audibles. The firemen are doing compressions. So the firemen arrive and the EMTs that are inside say to the firemen, like, hey, go grab the stretcher, go grab the stair chair, and we are going to begin the process of extricating from this house. And that whole process begins while this paramedic is on the phone. So the ultimate reason as to the call that was made was the paramedic was fairly certain as to what they saw. And they were going to go the route of, this is a confirmed STEMI. We're going to treat it as a confirmed STEMI, and we're going to transport it aggressively like a STEMI. However, they wanted full confirmation of what they were seeing. So this paramedic makes the phone call, talks to the doctor, and the doctor then goes,
Nope.
hold on. And says, yeah, we're going to call you back. And hangs up the phone.
I'll be gone, dude. You ain't even gonna fucking get me.
So
You just have to call the cardiologist first, guys. Come on.
right? So at this point, the paramedic decides, okay, you know, she's already, you know, on the stair chair getting, or the dude's already on the stair chair and they're, you know, meandering out of the house. So this paramedic goes and makes the determination of, let's get to the finally we're going to get to the chopper. Requests the chopper, and the chopper, Air Medical accepts the flight and says that they have a 20-minute ETA to the landing zone that they set up about 15 minutes down the road. So they should arrive more or less around the same time. I feel like that's a pretty decent decision. Like we're finally getting the ball moving, right? So firemen along with the EMTs get this gentleman finally to the stretcher inside the ambulance. Everyone starts to, you know, get moving. What are you guys going to be doing in the back of your office at this point in time?
Oh, IV, fluids, nitro, aspirin, all the good stuff. You know, morphine.
What was their blood pressure?
The last one,
150 over.
the last one was like 151/70. They haven't taken
I
another
think
one.
you said 115, so I got confused. Okay.
No, 151/70 was the last blood pressure that they've taken. Heart rate still remains in the 70s. So with what I'm seeing on the actual EKG that I was sent, looking, you know, being able to Monday morning quarterback it, I'm seeing some inferior involvement. So I don't know if I would have done nitro right off the rip. Maybe do a right-sided, then do it. I think that's all provider preference, to be honest. You know, most of the time, some people will, some people won't. There's no protocol that says you can't. You know, ACLS doesn't say that you
their
can't.
pressure can maintain it, so
Until it
I don't
can't.
disagree with it. Yeah, but
You know,
you've got access, like, I don't disagree with
Yeah,
it.
I think that would have been one of those decisions that you base off, like, you know, does this gentleman have pipes, and you know you can get 2 16s if you wanted to,
right,
or are you going to be hoping you can get a 24 in his pinky?
right. You know, we love those 24s in the pinky, especially on hypothermic patients. They're great. So as this, you know, paramedic starts riding down the road towards this LZ, another blood pressure's taken. This one is comes back as 158/87. Heart rate is still in the 70s. On the monitor via the, you know, the 3-lead or 4-lead, whatever you want to call it, still is what they're considering a sinus arrhythmia. Respiratory rate is unlabored in the 20s, and they're satting at 99% on no oxygen, so room air at this point in time. The paramedic does go ahead and puts in an 18 in the right AC, and hangs 1,000 bag of normal saline, and goes ahead and puts it like half wide open. I'm going to pause for just 1 second. Is Tammy watching TV, Gerard? Because I can hear.
No, man. No, man, I'm in the room all by myself.
That's so weird. Maybe it's me that I'm hearing a feedback loop or something.
Oh.
That's weird. So 1,000 bag normal saline is hung, and they, place it at about half wide open, like I said. At this point in time, they do go ahead and administer 0.4 milligrams of nitroglycerin via under the tongue sublingual spray. And then they get a...
Okay, I do have to interrupt for a second, a little bit off topic. I had nitroglycerin administered during a test I had today, and that shit is weird. So sorry to all of our patients who get it.
So
Head rush.
hold on, let's pause there, because we've never been able to discuss this. What was weird about it?
So, like, your head, like, your feet feel heavy and your head feels light, and your entire body just gets, like, really, really warm.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
So,
That
like,
is weird.
they were like, oh, how are you feeling? I was like, I'm feeling really hot. Like, I'm really sweaty right now. And, like, you start getting, like, that lightheaded, like, airy feeling, but, like, your feet feel really heavy still.
Huh.
And I was just really, really warm.
Well, ain't that interesting? I mean, I've heard of, the woozy feeling. I've heard of the headaches. I've heard of, the lightheadedness and the warm. I've never heard somebody say that their feet were heavy.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
just wondering why you would shoot freaking nitro into yourself.
I had a test today and they gave me nitro, but I would like, I don't know if it's because my head felt so lightheaded that the rest of my body felt heavy, but it was just a little weird.
Huh. Interesting.
Mm.
And I was thinking to myself, and I spray multiple sprays of these to people who have chest pain. They must be
Yeah, you
going for a
jerk.
trip at that point,
Yeah, you dumb jerk. I mean, we all do
Ain't
it.
dumb.
right?
So how did this thing continue?
Oh,
Moving right along. Like, we're all a little salty.
I'm trying to get you back on track because you're going off on a tangent.
I thought it was a good tangent. Anywho.
Usually it's like us going off on tangents, talking about zippers and fucking wet bandages and shit, and you're like trying to hurt us back in. And he's
okay,
like,
I feel like my tangent was way more relevant than any of the two of you's.
And I 100% agree with
no,
that.
it
And
was
like
relevant. It's like
I've never heard Gerard try and wrangle the cats. It sounded aggressive and weird. Wrangling the cats is my job. So the 0.4 milligrams of nitro is administered, and then this paramedic gets the phone call back from the the ER, the cardiac center that they had called, and the cardiologist is now on the phone with this paramedic, and the cardiologist says, like, hey, how are they doing? What's going on? This medic updates them and just says, yep, this is what I'm doing. This is the way they're presenting. They're still alert and oriented. They're, complaining of 5 on 10 pain right now. They still have the pressure in their chest, but no real crazy changes from when we called earlier. So this cardiologist says there is 100% Sgarbossa criteria met, and they actually say that there is elevations in 3, V2, and V3. And they are also concerned of all of the significant, depressions in the lateral leads. And they more or less just say, yep, they're confirming it is a STEMI, in these significant places, and that get them to the cath lab. Whereas this paramedic then just says, yep, we've already ran with that. They're getting a helicopter ride, and they should be with you guys in the next 45 minutes or so. And they hang up. Everything keeps going. So the next let's see here. The next EKG spits out and shows what you guys see. So the second picture that I sent to you guys, that is what you see, and ultimately you see depressions in the lateral leads. You see depressions in V2. You also see some elevations utilizing Sgarbossa in in lead 3, as well as AVF. And then with Sgarbossa, you also see V2 and V3 be Sgarbossa positive. So there's elevations underneath that left bundle branch block as well in those leads. So you're looking at a inferior wall along with some, anterior septal wall infarct with, I would say, with all of the depressions that I'm looking at, the lateral wall is about to go as well. I mean,
it's been 11 days.
Yeah, some of these are 5-6 millimeters deep, these depressions. They're big, right? So no real crazy changes, just, some increases in certain leads that we already knew about. So this paramedic goes and takes another set of vitals, which come back as a blood pressure, no real change of 153 over 81. Heart rate still at sinus arrhythmia at 72. The EMT goes ahead and places oxygen at 2 liters because the SpO2 had started to dip to the mid to low 90s, around like 92, 93. So that comes back up to the high 90s with the 2 liters of oxygen. And the patient starts to show some signs of, fatigue and, just some more slight shortness of breath. Nothing real crazy. They're not, breathing in broken sentences or anything like that. So this paramedic administers another dose of nitroglycerin. And then they also, yes.
With the increase in shortness of breath, were lung sounds ever re-listened to?
No. So lung sounds initially, which I never gave to you guys because I'm a dingbat, were clear and equal, but no repeat lung sounds were ever given to me. So I don't know whether or not they were listened to or not. I would hope that there's no changes, but nothing was ever given to me.
So has anything been done for the pain?
So
that's what I was just gonna say.
So I'm getting there. You guys are always one sentence ahead of when I'm literally gonna say it. So this paramedic goes ahead and gives 50 mics of fentanyl IV for just to ease the pain as well as kind of chill the dude out, because again, there's still that like anxiety chain, not anymore of the screaming, but you could still tell that there is, some anxiety about the situation.
So here's another one where I'm like, it's like, why are, I don't know, it just seems like, I don't know. It seems like people are very, I don't know if scared is the right word to use, but like nobody ever wants to touch the fucking morphine, yet morphine would be freaking perfect for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree.
Especially with the transport time and everything else. It's like, why am I giving him 50 mics of fentanyl when I'm going to have to give him another 50 in freaking 10 minutes? I can just give him 5 of morphine, see where we go from there.
Agreed. And here's the other thing when we're talking morphine, like we use morphine a lot, right? But not everyone carries it. That's the other thing. A lot of agencies are now going away from morphine. So there's agencies out there that don't even carry it. Like they don't even have it as an option. It's fentanyl. In our system, we have morphine, fentanyl, ketamine to choose from. I don't know. I don't know the rationale behind picking one over the other. You know?
It just seems like the people I've been in contact with lately and stuff, it's like, you know, even the past few years, you can see it's like, you know, fentanyl this, fentanyl that, fentanyl. I've had, you know, someone that you know, or I arrived on scene to take a patient from them, and, you know, femur fracture. Oh, I gave him fentanyl. Well, why the fuck didn't you just give him fucking morphine? You know, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and honestly, like, you know, I'm very specific in when I give one over the other. Typically for me, any type of orthopedic anything gets morphine, like right off the rip. You know, it just works better in orthopedics, you know? And then a lot of other things get fentanyl. Like if you're just complaining of, you know, back pain or something like that, yeah, I'm probably going to give you fentanyl, you know?
Well, I'm probably going to give you ibuprofen. Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't have that ability, Mr. I work in a better system now. I wish that I could just be like, here's some ibuprofen. Call me tomorrow. I don't have that luxury. You know, I get to increase the opioid problem by giving them opioids.
There you go.
Like, you know, I'm doing my job for big pharma.
Yeah, we don't want to run out of freaking, you know, junkies out there, you know?
No, not at all. So the 50 of fentanyl's given. And now, you know, we're going to say 5 to 6 minutes goes by and they do, you know, reassessment, and they're still complaining of, you know, this pain, but the pressure has gone away. But now their chest pain is at a 1 on 10 and from a 5 on 10. And they are a lot more relaxed. They're, you know, talking with EMS, and they seem still a little worried, but not, oh my God, anxious, right? Vital signs, after, all that pretty much remain the same. You know, the last one, that they have recorded here is 154 over 91. Heart rate doesn't change, stays, you know, sinus arrhythmia in the 70s. Their respiratory rate comes down to 18, and they stay at, you know, 98% on room air. Now, let's see. Let me move down into my notes here. The last 12 lead that these guys get is the one that I sent you guys. And here, Gerard just got bonked from the call.
I think you're doing it on purpose now.
Nope, there he is.
Can you guys hold on? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I had to switch on to my phone because I have to run to CVS to pick up a Christmas present. So you guys are going wireless with me.
Fun. Gerard, are you back? All good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm here. Yeah.
So the last 12 lead that this crew takes is the one that I sent you. And what is cool about it is the left bundle branch block is now no longer there. It's no longer present.
Hold on, you got RMA. He's out. Go.
Yep. RMA. See you later. Bye.
Can you RMA once you're in the ambulance already? Like, we are moving people.
There you go. Goodbye.
Yeah, I kick him right out the door. See you later.
Hey, it's better than punching him in the face multiple times, you know?
Oh.
Hey-o.
So what I think is kind of cool about this is, you know, you can honestly see the left bundle branch block is, you know, gone. You're back into
what vasodilation will do, you know?
It's amazing, right? So they're back in a sinus rhythm. You still have depressions in the lateral leads, but they're not as bad. They're now like 2 or 3 millimeters instead of 5 or 6. But you can see the elevations now more present in the inferior leads. what you also don't see is the infarct in the anterior and septal leads like you did prior. Now those are depressions. So again, there's some significant changes here that this paramedic, goes and sees and moves forward. So ultimately, the EMS crew, the ambulance, along with this gentleman, arrive at the LZ. They're there for about 5 or so minutes. Pain doesn't change; it remains a 1 on 10, and the patient is in some fairly good spirits. The air medical crew arrives. They get there, and they end up, taking over patient care. All of the EKGs are swapped around, and see you later, goodbye. They are off to the cardiac center. Now, the one great thing that I have is an update. I don't have any type of update from the care that this guy received once on the helicopter. But they did arrive at the helicopter. He never lost pulses or anything like that, which is awesome. Always a good thing. But they ended up cathing this guy.
Wait. Let me guess.
Yes.
UTI.
They cathed his UTI? That'd be weird.
Why
not? Just, make a bigger hole for a bigger UTI next time. But they ended up cathing this guy 3 separate stents. Where, I'm not entirely sure. There was no update on location of stents, just the number of stents, which was 3. So I think that,
Not refuse.
What was that?
I said, so basically what I'm hearing is this time he did not refuse.
Apparently, this gentleman did not refuse this time. Maybe he learned his lesson and was like, yep, not going through that again. So your guys' overall thoughts on what transpired? Everyone's not looking at Gerard.
Don't all jump at once.
All right, I'm going to call on Emily.
So I guess my question to you guys would be, like, say you had no cell service and you're like, man, I think it's Sgarbossa, but I don't really know. Would your treatment have changed?
Nope.
No.
So my point to this is, do not get stuck up on Sgarbossa, because you just need to treat your patient. Like, I'm going through this whole thing and I'm thinking, like, oh man, okay, we're going to call the doc. Like, I'm all for that. Send it to the doc, send it to the professionals. They can pull up an old, they can do this, they can call cardiology, but like, I'm not going to wait to treat for that. I'm still going to treat this man's chest pain.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree.
I keep accidentally muting myself when I'm trying to talk.
That's what happens when you drive to the store during a podcast.
Maybe you should get an Apple product.
I was going to say that, like, our ACS protocols and our STEMI protocols are pretty much one and the same, just shy of the fact that, like, we don't provide a STEMI alert if there's no elevations.
Well, and that's it. So I don't really think anything drastically changed with the treatment plan. I think that was the treatment plan, even before the phone call was made, that was the treatment plan. I don't know what would have happened, if anything had changed. But I don't think that, there wasn't any signs to show that they were going to withhold any of that. But I agree I've been in the situations where, you're hemming and hawing over things that you just go and do.
It doesn't matter.
Right?
Right.
It
just
doesn't matter. So again, ACS is ACS anywhere, right? And you're going to treat it with ACLS. So just go about it, right? And even if you couldn't transport this, like you guys say, you're going to treat it as a STEMI anyway, right? Based off of patient presentation. You're not necessarily going to wait for, oh man, it says that there's a STEMI. Like, the idiot box on the monitor spits out, lateral wall STEMI. You're not going to wait for that. You're going to go.
If it looks like a duck and walks like a duck.
I've called STEMI alerts where my patient technically only had maybe, a little bit of elevations here and there, maybe some depressions, but nothing that met actual STEMI criteria. But they looked like shit and they were howling in pain. So, you know what? I'm calling it. And if you want to tell me I was wrong to do it later, whatever, fuck you. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I get paid.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing that happens is they look at you and go, they're not having a STEMI.
Right.
Okay.
And even then,
you tell me what they're having.
But even then, you're still ahead of the 8 ball, which I think this whole, we always say, get ahead of the 8 ball. Right? And I think that is I think that's the thing to take away from this is don't let some uncertainty get in the way of what's obvious and move forward with it.
Right.
Because and this is one of those don't treat the monitor, treat your patients kind of scenarios. Where you go and you're like, okay, hey, this is this is what transpires, and you don't want to get hung up and miss what you actually should be doing. Like it would be a tragedy if they got so hung up on okay, we need the doc to make this call, and if the docs don't call me back, I'm not doing anything. That would be atrocious. At least they still went and did stuff. But we all know people that wouldn't.
But if you look at your patient and the thought in your head goes, I might end up doing CPR on this guy sooner or later, you should probably call the fucking STEMI alert without any freaking 12 leads or anything else. Just fucking just treat him, give him what you got to give him.
Right.
That's why EMT basics have a protocol for here's some fucking aspirin. Oh, you're on nitro. Here, have some nitro, and let's go.
Right.
They don't take 12 leads. I mean, well, maybe now they do, but they don't interpret them.
Right.
They're just going based on patient presentation and vital signs.
Right. And
that's what I was just going to say. If I had done that call as a basic, not having 12 lead capabilities, they would have gotten nitro. Their pressure supported it.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, and one of the things that I remember too, going back in, throughout my EMS career, is I remember one very particular call that I just happened to do with your husband, Emily, in that we went to a call that we were both, EMT basics, no online, no monitor capability. And I walked in there being, the one that was going to take this call, so the primary EMT. And from the moment I locked eyes on my patient, I was like, she's having an MI. Guaranteed, no joke, this lady's having an MI. And we nothing was dispatched for, it was like a weakness call. Nothing was dispatched for, cardiac. Nothing was dispatched for, a medic. Nothing. And we were in another person's district doing mutual aid. So it wasn't even like I could call my own company and be like, hey, paramedic, come save me. Nothing. Him and I ended up driving 40 minutes to the nearest cardiac center, linking up with a medic halfway down, who then was like, oh yeah, look at that. She's having a STEMI. Again, it's kind of, like you say, you don't need the monitor to be like, yeah, that looks and smells like a STEMI.
Yeah.
So I think the lesson really should be don't get hung up on the EKGs, the monitors, the readouts, the printouts, and all that good stuff. Right. Always focus. I mean, yeah, that stuff is great and can help you drastically, but don't forget to look at your patient and to trust what you're seeing.
Right.
Yeah,
it literally is as simple as that. It's like, all those other things, Sgarbossa and, 12 lead interpretation, all this crap, that's all great to help you, solidify what it is you're looking at and say definitively, hey, this is what I'm looking at and this is what we have. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have all that shit. All you need to do is look at a guy, they're pale, freaking cool, diaphoretic, complaining of chest pain, radiating into their arm and their jaw. Hey, guess what? It's probably not a fucking UTI.
Right. Right. You know,
well, again, it could be. Yeah.
Exactly. And we're just lone paramedics in EMS. Who knows? Like, we get duped all the time. But you know what? Who also gets duped all the time? The hospital people, the cardiologists, right? Yep. The hospitalists, the ER docs. They all get duped all the time. They don't know what's going on 99% of the time, just like we don't. You know, and I agree. I think a lot of this is really great information to know. You know, but at the same time, a lot of it is just filler knowledge. Like, it's, you know, it's great to know, but it's not going to save your butt in the long run. You know? Now, the only thing that I have to say in regards to making the initial phone call is at least they made an attempt to go up the chain when they were unsure. I think that's
I agree.
I think, you know, if they were just like, okay, I'm going to wing it, maybe they would have made a bad decision, you know? So I think the other takeaway from this is when you are very unsure of what to do, you do have somebody there to run ideas by. You know, if you are literally by yourself, if you're the lone paramedic on the scene or the lone EMT on the scene and you're above your head and you know it, reach out. You know, I think that is a good lesson to also, you know, get from this particular call. You know, don't, like, the whole fake it till you make it is a really funny thing that we all say, but sometimes it can get you into really some hot water. So maybe you don't fake it and you're like, yeah, I honestly don't know what I'm doing right now, and call for help. Because no one's going to yell at you because you asked for help.
They will, but nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, but I don't even know if they would. Like, I know I wouldn't, you know, but I certainly am going to yell at you if you try and fake it and then off somebody.
You have never heard, we all worked at a place that they used to harass you for calling a doc. Oh, you don't need to do that. That's in your protocols. Okay, well, if I have a question or I'm just not fucking sure, I'm still going to call a doc.
That's when you look at
the other day. I had like a 5-minute conversation with a doc that I really didn't need to make, and I just did it anyways because I was like, I'm going to talk to them about this because I feel like they should know.
Yeah, and you know, like that's what's awesome about having that assistance and that option. I think, you know,
I mean,
it
that's
is
what
an
they're there
option
for.
in our toolbox.
That's what they're there for. Like, we don't have a lot of resources pre-hospitally, and they are one of them.
Right. Yeah, I 100% agree. So do you guys have anything else to add on top of this? Before I say, you know, let's end this whole thing? I don't know.
I think we covered it. I mean, yeah, it's
like I said, it was a fairly straightforward call.
There was no real weird, you know, twists or turns. Like, you know, we didn't freaking get there and, you know, they freaking put a hospital gown and, you know, out pops a wet bandage, you know, that we didn't see.
How dare you?
How dare you? So, guys, thank you again for, you know, being able to come into the same place in some short notice. I mean, I only gave you like 4 hours to get to the same place. So I appreciate all of you guys. Kelsey, have fun with your Christmas shopping. You should put us on.
I just had to pick up photos because I'm making ornaments for family members. So I'm already on my way back.
Oh, my good gravy. She's so sweet and kind to people.
And crafty.
I mean, have you found your nerd yet? Like, Jeepers Creepers. This is like Nerd Central. Hashtag Kelsey's nerd.
Okay, so a sidebar about that. Lately, all of my patients keep asking me if I'm married. And you want to know what I told my dad when he said, "Hi, Dad, if you're listening." Dad went, "Oh, well, if they've got like 100 acres and a couple cows, I guess that's fine."
Nice.
So in case anybody wants to know, my dad will, in fact, sell me for a cow like old times.
There you go.
All right.
He's traditional.
Yeah, seriously. Jeez. That's hilarious.
I'm still pushing the computer lab.
Yep.
Get in the computer lab.
Damn Skippy.
Go to a Comic-Con.
Oh, there you go. So Kelsey, I do have to thank you. The raised pig is absolutely divine. So
oh, that's so exciting.
yes. So Kelsey raised a pig. We got a piglet, and then Kelsey raised it and made it really super fat and amazing. And then her dad and her sent it to the butcher. And I literally now have a trunk freezer, entirely full of pork. And we had the first morning that we had it, because I brought it home in the evening. So Jess was like, tomorrow morning, we're having bacon. So we got, the first thing that we had was the shoulder bacon, which was good. And then we made a spaghetti sauce with the sweet sausage, which again was good. And then last night, my parents were over, and because the boys had a school function that they wanted to see today. So we made pork chops last night, and I have never once had a pork chop that melted in my mouth.
Oh, I had one tonight.
Oh,
And all we did was take them out of the package, put them in a pan sear them, and throw them on a plate. And they literally melted like butter in my mouth, and it was phenomenal. So Kelsey, you're amazing. Thank you for that. They will be eaten a lot. Like my wife keeps saying, like, we're going to have pork, right? We're going to have pork. And I'm like, we got to slow down. Like, that's a year's worth of pork. You're going to eat it by January.
Yeah, you'll get like a month into it, and you're like, I'd like to eat a chicken again. Like,
There's just way too much toxic masculinity in here. I find it offensive. Animal cruelty. I mean, how could you possibly
Gerard,
slaughter those
if you
pigs?
knew the amount of love that goes into raising these pigs before they meet their death, there is no cruelty involved.
But you kill them, and then you end up eating all that wonderful bacon and those delicious, delectable pork chops, and dripping with juice. And
don't you worry, I'll send you a freezer, package with something in it, and you can enjoy this amazing animal that Kelsey raised.
If you look on the on the Facebook,
this is really why my dad's willing to sell me for a 100-acre farm. Just saying. Right.
But that picture I posted on the face space there.
Yep. The face space
of my my pork chops from tonight. Oh my God! When y'all come down here to visit, we're going to this place. Holy fucking shit! I've never had pork chops that good. Like you're sitting there talking about the pork chops. I'm just like, oh my God, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. In the mouth, melt.
Good. Oh, they are so good. So good.
I was full after the first one, but I was like, that second one ain't never going to be as good as it is right now. So we're undoing the belt.
Yep, you got it. You got to just shove it down.
It's going in.
Yep. I mean, heck. So they gave us like, I don't know, a 10 or 12-pound spiral ham as one of the cuts. Right. This thing is massive and it's smoked.
I mean, boo, masculinity, boo.
And it's like perfect. And Jess, we're unloading the freezer, or we're unloading all the boxes and coolers that this stuff came in, and we're putting it in the trunk freezer. And we get to this giant spiral ham, and Jess is like, "Oh my God, look at this freaking amazing ham!" And she's like, the next words out of her mouth were, "We can have it for like Christmas dinner." And I'm like, "You want me to share this 12-pound beautiful ham with my family? No,
Rude.
that's our ham. I'm not sharing that. And she's like, we are going to eat this. And I'm like, no. Like,
Hell no.
never.
Watch me.
They're getting Smithfield. That's it.
Yep. So now we're having the spiral ham for Christmas dinner. So, because her and I will never, ever actually eat it together.
You know, that is probably the most magical thing ever, because now I'm just bringing joy to you and all of your family. So that makes my heart happy.
Yay. Oh, yeah. So with that, thank you everyone for joining us. Make sure to sign up.
Carnivores, yay.
You know, the PETA does not have a safe space here. And I think we've made that abundantly clear.
You're telling me PETA doesn't stand for people eating tasty animals?
Right. That's good stuff.
Ooh.
I can honestly say I've never heard of that one. Yummy. All right, guys. Till next time, stay safe. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yummy ham-flavored donuts.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you'd like more information on the podcast or to send us a call to review, visit medicmaterials.com/podcast. To learn more information, like us on Facebook at Medic Materials EDU, or watch our weekly instructional videos on the Medic Materials YouTube channel.